What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel, Inside the Game Official, Fast channel over at Rad TV, and all those other TV streaming platforms around the globe, just like Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Jinx Esports TV, ESTV, and the list goes on. But we've also got you covered on the audio side. You want that podcast download? Then hit us up over Fired Up Network, all 212 platforms. Can't miss us. Scott, what's on today's show?
Today we have a Reedpop sell-off that may be happening in the future. That's more good news for the industry, of course.
Oh, man.
We also have some real good news in the form of some Geoff Keighley answers in the Game Awards Q&A session that just happened. We have some new details. And we also have Skull and Bones release date. That was straight out of left field.
That's yep, but dude, I called it. I knew it was coming next year. Let's talk about everything else though. Reedpop, what are they doing? Scott, this one's kind of interesting. Geoff Keighley confirms the Game Awards will move away from, quote, world premiere, end quote, label, and beef up security. Taylor Lyles over at IGN. Geoff Keighley has shared some new information and changes coming to the Game Awards this year, including stepping back from the, quote, world premiere label, end quote, weighing in on the discourse surrounding Dave the Diver being nominated as an indie game, and beefing up security to avoid future stage crashers. Man, this is a hot topic today, Scott.
Absolutely. Yes.
In a stream from yesterday's The Game Awards Q&A session, Keighley answered one viewer's question about how many world premieres would appear at this year's show. Keighley disclosed that he is not sure of a firm number and would say it would be around the same, but then discussed what constitutes a world premiere. Scott, let's get. I'm stopping it right there. What do you constitute as a world premiere?
World premiere. Oh, right? I'm gonna hear that voice no matter what happens while we're watching it. But world premiere would have to be the very first, and this is where it gets strange, but the official announcement, the official viewing. Yeah. We've seen, which I think disqualifies Grand Theft Auto. We have not yet officially seen Grand Theft Auto, right? There's not been a reveal yet, although we have technically seen a little bit too much.
Yeah, that was due to some hackers, right? But I think that's the biggest thing for me is world premiere is something we've never seen before. It's funny, we almost turned it into a drinking game here, right? Like not that we were doing it, but it was one of those, man, we take a shot every time they say world premiere, because it became so skewed that we're like, well, we already saw that game. Like, we saw a trailer on this game before in the past, and it's world premiere, and it was just gameplay. I'm like, I appreciate that we're seeing firsthand new gameplay, but it's not a world premiere. Like, the world premiere is like a get hyped moment, right? So here it goes. Quote, actually, you'll see this year, we often put up those cards, world premiere. That's what said it twice, apparently. We're kind of moving away from that just because everything's kind of, it's its first look. Or is it an announcement? Except, so we just treat it all as a great game content. That's the thing. You're starting to see them shift and go, yeah, we're getting the feedback of world premiere is just another trailer, right? Like, we saw trailer after trailer after trailer, Sky, and we're like, that's how many times did we go, that's not a world premiere? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose it was on a technicality because it was the premiere of the gameplay. But yeah, to me, that's not what world premiere means exactly. So we are getting a little bit of an understanding here.
Yeah, which is nice to see a bit of a breakdown, right? So maybe we're going to start moving away from this altogether and we'll just get a new trailer. But how do you hype up that big trailer, right? How do you hype up an Elden Ring reveal? So yeah, we're gonna have to find different, you kind of need that announcing voice to really set the stage for that. But what do you do? What language do you use? I don't know, because world premiere always did it. We're like, oh, world premiere, let's go. What are we getting into? It's just more gameplay of Street Fighter 6. I was like, what? What? Wait a second, we've seen this already. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, no. So I don't know. I'm definitely interested to see. Well, for the first time ever, I'll actually be at the Game Awards, so I think that kind of has its own level of hype. But then the other part of me is, what do we see there? Because when we take a look at the big dogs, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, what do they have to show us? I think Xbox pretty well has all their cards on the table. We kind of know for the most part what they have, right?
Yeah.
PlayStation, we really don't know what they have cooking for next year. Nintendo, Switch 2. Do we see GTA 6 revealed there? Like, that would be a showstopper in itself. That would be a monumental moment, but then does that take away from everybody else at the Game Awards? Like, as a world premiere, right? Like, there's a lot. Scott, what could anybody show us this year? I think that's the biggest thing. Dude, I really don't know what to expect coming off of 2023. Going into 2024, what the hype level is going to be at, right? Can they match this year? I doubt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to follow up 2023 in terms of game releases for the rest of our foreseeable lifetimes.
Yeah, no kidding. That's
we are going. It's interesting to me that we're seeing an upgrade in security the year that you happen to be at the awards.
Watch out here! I'm coming for the stage, Geoff.
They've heard you. You're a big Assassin's Creed guy. So.
You won't see me until it's too late. When asked if they would add extra security measures to avoid stage crashes, speaking of, Keighley confirmed they were, but avoided going into specifics, as not to give potential stage crashers any revealing information. Quote, yeah, we are, end quote. He replied, quote, we don't want to talk about the stuff too publicly just because it's security, end quote. Which makes a ton of sense, but at the same time, here's the other side of it, Scott. It's if this continues, you know what this means? Is that the public is no longer allowed in. Dude, they just shut it down, right? They just make it an industry-wide, only media outlet, only event. And then the public is just left out in the dark because pinheads like these people just walk up on stage to announce stuff about Bill Clinton and where's GTA 6. I was like, come on, are you kidding me? Like, you're ruining this for everybody. Everybody from the team that works with Geoff to all of the developers there were supposed to be there to celebrate. All the games were supposed to be celebrating. And all the fans that are there for the hype of the event. For two people just to go up on stage and ruin it for everybody, right? Because we now think, another Game Awards, who's next? What's coming next? So yeah, he does have to step up security. Man, he never should have had to do security in the first place.
No, these people don't realize that it's a brand new idea to have this all open, and the idea that it could be shut away is it's not doing anybody any good to be jumping the stage and causing so much disrespect to something that people in the industry think is so revered. It's not the right time to be doing something like that or making some silly statements. Whether it includes Bill Clinton or it's funny or not, it doesn't really matter. It hits me the same way as graffitied pyramids. You know, you're not going to go to the pyramids and write your name. You're not going to make it about you. You're not going to put. It's all dumb and disrespectful.
Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine just walking up on stage and blurting something out. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It is, dude, I love this industry. Like, people are just ruining it for the sake of doing it. Why? So you can get your 5 seconds of fame, and then what? Now you're just revered as one of the worst people in our space to be a part of, and that's the problem, right? You're not welcome now. We don't want you. Get out, and don't come back, because you just ruined it for a ton of people. There's also more to talk about, though, Scott. It was a good Q&A apparently. Elsewhere in the Q&A, Keighley also addressed the recent controversy regarding Dave the Diver's nomination for Best Indie Game, explaining that the Game Awards defers to their jury to determine what constitutes an independent game or not, adding that, quote, independent can mean different things to different people, and it's sort of a broad term, right? End quote. Very much so. Quote, so yeah, Dave the Diver. The game is made up of a group named Mint Rocket. It's a smaller game from a smaller group, but it's part of Nexon. They're employees of Nexon, which is a very large publisher. So I think it's a fair debate and discussion. And the game truly is independent, or is it not? End quote. Geoff Keighley said, quote, you can argue it either way. Basically, Scott, dude, this is where you kind of blur the lines, right? This is one of those things. They're being published by this massive entity, but the team that make it is actually pretty small. Does that count?
Yeah, it's strange. I never really considered exactly what the definitions were, but it seems that it is getting a lot more murky than we once believed.
Yeah, the term independent now is really like versus indie. I feel is like is very, very different these days, right? Where I don't know. So I had a good conversation last week with Omega Studios, the team behind Predecessor, and they're up to about 70 people now. Does that make them indie still, right?
Yeah. At what point does that change? Yeah.
When they started,
it's like world premiere. If you're not going to call it a world premiere, well, we're talking about the same thing though, right? So what do you call that?
Yeah. When Omega started, dude, there's 20 of them. That's indie. Like straight up, that is indie. When you start getting it bigger, and then you have bigger pockets supporting you, is that really indie? You know what I mean? Because you have Nexon publishing your game. What's that do to you? Because you're not really that small team who's trying to struggle through and get the game out, right? It's not like the Cuphead team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, those guys mortgaged their house to finish that game. So like that's dedication right there.
Bright Memory Infinite was devised by one individual, I believe, and that was incredible. That's about as indie as you can get.
Absolutely. But when you get into these bigger publishers and things like that, I don't know, it really becomes fuzzy. So it is up to kind of each individual for sure. But it's interesting to see. It's a small team who developed the game, but it's not a small team that helped publish. So I don't know. We'll see. Do you think Geoff will go in and kind of, narrow some of these categories down to an actual meaning for next year?
Yeah, for next year, I think there will be a lot of revisions made. I don't think there's much use to bringing it up this year around.
No.
Trying to explain, hey, this is Dave the Diver. It is indie, by the way, guys. I should keep that debate off of the stage. But
yeah, I guess we'll find out next week, though. Will they win the indie game of the year? Scott, this year is one of the best in games, but one of the worst when it comes to developers. And we've already talked about how we've seen 6,000 plus get laid off in the games industry. Well, now we're getting to a different aspect of the games industry, and journalists seem to be a little bit worried now too, as Reedpop seeks buyer for Eurogamer, Game Informer, VG247, Rock Paper Shotgun, and more. Christopher Dring over at gamesindustry.biz tells us all about it. Reedpop is investigating the potential sale of its gamer network business. The UK-based operation includes GameIndustry.biz, Eurogamer. It's funny, they're reporting on themselves. Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun.
Awkward in this case.
A little bit, right? VG247 and Dicebreaker. The business also holds shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundries, and Hookshot. Not included in the sale of the UK events is EGX or MCM, or the digital brand Popverse. Reedpop acquired Gamer Network in 2018 to create the world's leading events and media group for the gaming community. The company already operated major shows, including PAX and New York Comic-Con. However, COVID-19 pandemic put a stop on these events, forcing the business to cut back, which led to the closure of US Gamer and the standalone EGX Rezzed event. The company said in a statement, quote, Reedpop, part of RX, has reviewed its UK's business and decided to investigate the potential sale of its gamer network and associated editor digital properties. We believe the new ownership offers the best conditions for the growth of the business. Gamer Network includes Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, Dicebreaker, GamesIndustry.biz, shareholdings, as we just mentioned already. So, man, this does not impact any of the other Reedpop properties in the UK, including MCM, Comic-Con, EGX, or Popverse. Reedpop is the parent company of GameIndustry.biz. Scott, dude, this is big. This is very, very big.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people this includes, but any one of these companies is going to be, far too many people that is comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to take away from, right? Like, if you're at one of these networks or one of these platforms, you're kind of going, man, what's our future look like? Are they going to hold us? Are they going to keep us? When new ownership comes in, they're like, okay, who do we get rid of first sometimes, right? Like, who do we weed out? Or maybe do they come in and hopefully even look to expand upon what they already have here? Because Eurogamer, Game Informer, VG247, Rock Paper Shotgun, and more, like, that is a list right there. Often we actually go to some of these outlets for our news articles to cover here for the show. I'm surprised to see this come around. I don't know, dude. Business is tough. And with the pandemic, it's definitely had its weight on our industry. And now that we're kind of post semi-pandemic, I don't know what you want to call this anymore at this state, but we're kind of getting our way out of it and just kind of dealing with the surroundings of where we're at. But now we're starting to see people suffer because of the pandemic, right? All the layoffs in the jobs when it comes to the developer side of things, and now on our side too when it comes to media outlets. Scott, like, dude, this is a little concerning.
It is. We're seeing this issue balloon a little bit, and I think this is truly just as a result of the recovery from COVID. We're coming out of that pandemic, and I think it just takes a very long time for that kind of the money to transfer and then to stop and slow. We're seeing this effect happen a couple years later now, but I'm not convinced it's stopped the spread yet. I think it's going to get much worse.
Which is unfortunate, right? We're talking about a recession coming our way. There's a lot going on right now, and it's not good. It is unfortunate. When the pandemic hit, everybody went to gaming, right? Like, we're all locked inside. What do? People who were never gamers are now suddenly gamers, which then shot up our developers, shot up the media, right? Like, dude, we were busy. We're still busy, mind you, but it's always something to do, right? When it comes to gaming. Now that people are like, okay, we can go back outside, and now we're going back to work in a different way, right? Things kind of lighten up a little bit. And I think that's kind of the impact we're starting to see now, is everybody going back to their usual way of living. And now we're getting hit with the sacrifices of, man, all these developers getting laid off. The numbers aren't hitting. Well, they're not going to hit because 2 years ago, the world was in a different state, right? So, yeah, not everybody's at home.
This is important to specify. This doesn't exactly mean that these people have been laid off or let go yet. No. This is a sale of the company to hopefully avoid that maneuver. So we can only hope that it's not an Embracer situation happening yet again in another satellite industry.
No, exactly, right? Maybe whoever does come in, sweeps in, buys them up, it actually expands off of what they're doing. We are starting to see live events come back, right? Maybe that's a good selling feature for Reedpop. Hey, these events are now starting to make its return. Maybe there's opportunity to grow that, right? E3, dead. I'm calling it, dude. It is just dead, right? They say they might be back this year or 2024. I don't think they are. I think the Keighleys are really the top dog right now, right? Next week, I'll be at the Video Game Awards and doing a couple other little things. But yeah, if you see me over the Video Game Awards, come say hi. Definitely love to meet you. And we're starting to see this turnaround. I think that's the exciting part for us. We're over here in Canada, dude. I'm waiting for EGX to pop up again, or EGLX, sorry, in Toronto. Like, do we get this? Fan Expo is here as well. It's always a funny time for Fan Expo because they compete with other...
I've never been to one.
Never been to... All right, well, it looks like we're going to Fan Expo this year.
Yeah, I'm missing out on a lot of those, so I'm very glad to see they're returning. Never been to an Anime North either, just
saying.
Missing out.
Well, I know also our friend Brad, too, over at Northern Nerdcast, is having NostalgiaCon coming in October, going to Toronto, right? And we'll be there at that one. So there's things that are starting to pop up, which is always a nice sign of the return for the industry. And maybe that's what Reedpop can kind of bank on for their next buyer, is to get into, hey, these events are starting to return. So, I don't know, hopefully everything works out. Our fingers are crossed. Scott, this is hot off the press this morning over at Tom Henderson's Insider Gaming. Skull and Bones release date is February 2024. Dude, I called this. I said, this is when they're going to launch this game. I knew it was going to happen. Check one box off for me. I'm telling you, because they want it just to kind of go away. In February, I think, is the perfect time.
I have my worries. I have my concerns.
We all have our concerns. But following, you ready for this? 6 delays.
Oh, man.
6 delays. Insider Gaming has learned that Skull and Bones has finally got a release date of February 16th, 2024. He says 2023. I think he was in a hurry. 2024. The information follows an official announcement from Ubisoft in October that the game has a release window set for its fiscal year of 2023-24. Last week, Daryl Long, who will be moving to Toronto to become managing director, confirmed that the game will ship before the end of the fiscal year. Pre-orders for the game are currently live on the Ubisoft store, priced at $75. It's got full game. This is a full price game here. But Insider Gaming understands that Ubisoft also plans to release a premium version of the game. Although we've been unable to pinpoint the contents of the Premium Edition, it's understood that players will be able to play the game on February 13th, which is pretty interesting to see, 3 days ahead of schedule. And it's understood that the new Premium Edition will set back players another $15 to $20. Details on the game's new release date will be announced are unclear, but sources suggest due to the nature of the obtained information that it's likely to be in the next couple of weeks, possibly at the Game Awards. The game, which is currently under the codename Project XA, what does that mean, has been under extensive playtests as of late, with the developers having its latest test last week. Skull and Bones was originally planned for a 2018 release. Oh, wow. Before being delayed no less than 6 times. At one point, the game was even being developed with a new vision in mind from the studio at Ubisoft Singapore. Skull and Bones will be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC on February 16th. Scott, dude, we finally gonna see this game?
Oh, I have prying eyes. I cannot wait to see how this actually lines up, because I'm suspecting it's being sent out just to sync. But at this point, it's been 6 delays. It's been years and years. I think that's almost the best thing you could hope for.
Well, that's just it. I said, okay, here's the lineup for Ubisoft in 2024. We start off with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown in January. February comes around, we get Skull and Bones. Sure enough, here it is, right? Dude, we're gonna get this game. It's gonna just kind of come and go, and then they're gonna move on to the rest of the big stuff, right? We get another Assassin's Creed next year. What else we get? We heard Star Wars won't be next year, looking like more 2025, which is really disappointing, because if you think about it, the next Assassin's Creed is gonna hit. Dude, I got high hopes for this one. We're off to feudal Japan. That one's gonna land, I think, where a lot of fans have been asking for. They're bringing in the stealth too, right? We're not getting the Eivor side of things where you blow your horn. It is, we are a ninja, dude. We are a samurai, and we're gonna go take out people as stealthily as possible. I cannot wait. I'm like beyond excited. But on the other side of that is, what else do they have?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point, because I could think of Assassin's Creed, the big ones, but
yeah,
what else? New season in Siege, but we're gonna get, I'm sure, some new. Are we gonna hit our 100 operator max in Siege next year? I don't think so.
Nope. But we'll see how well Skull and Bones does. It's not that far away. Scott, today's a little bit busier than yesterday. There's a couple more games on the list. What are we checking out?
We have Roots of Pacha, which is now on the PlayStation 4, 5, and the Nintendo Switch. Roller Drome is now on the Xbox Series consoles, and I'm interested on that one specifically. Noctuary is on PC. Calico is now on PlayStation 4 and 5. And The Last Train Home is on PC.
That one looks cool, dude. I want to check that one out.
To try and keep everybody alive. However, things did not look good at all with Maeslik. After defusing the explosives at the bridge, we managed to loot some rifles and ammunition on the way. A welcome replacement for the weapons we lost in our fight with the Reds. We also discovered a warehouse with a supply of food and fuel.
And that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.